Okay, so if inflation is here to stay, what can I do about it? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. This is a very serious topic because it's in the news every day, but more importantly, people are feeling it in their wallet. So, of course, I wanted to go in depth into what's actually happening and show you what you can do about it. The first thing is we need to identify the problem. So, I will cover that. The next thing is I want to give you actual practical tips. This is really key because you're not really getting that information in the news. Yes, you're hearing about the inflation rate, you're hearing about the food prices rising and supposedly the reasons why. But what can you do about it? And I want to talk about getting ahead. If you see what's coming down in the future, you want to be able to stay ahead of the game. All of that and more. Let's begin. Of course, we do have a lot to talk about. I'm not going to get into the depths of every single piece of this, but I'm going to cover a lot. I'm going to move through it quickly, but you're going to get a lot of information. So let's begin by asking the question, why? If we leave our fate, our security, and our finances into the hands of those in control, we will ultimately remain helpless and likely worse off. Note, this is only the beginning. You must do everything that you can. Like I said, it's not an exhaustive list of each and every step, 1, 2, 3 in this order. No, but these are the things that you can actually do today to start this, to finish this, to make it happen, all right? Inflation or deflation is the big question. It's that subject that nobody seems to want to touch, because you're going to offend somebody on either side of the spectrum. Inflation, assets, food prices, electricity, taxes all rise as the currency depreciates. Deflation, assets, wages, prices may all potentially decline as the currency appreciates. So you have to look at it in relation to the actual currency. Right now, today, you can see all those zeros. That's the $8 trillion balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. That's one aspect. And you look at what's happening with the deficits and the debt for every country today, they're all doing the same thing. They're going down the road of inflation. What happens in the future, we'll have to see. But certainly, this is the trajectory. Prepare for multiple future scenarios. I think that's really key. Always have your plan in place no matter what happens. See, there could be a series of events that takes place that are always going to leave you out in the cold. So you want to have your plan in place today to weather that storm. The very first thing that I want to discuss is debt. Eliminate all bad debt. The interest adds such a burden to your finances. Why bother paying it off? Debt will be pegged to the inflation rate, ensuring that you pay in current dollars. So many people say, why pay off the debt if a hyperinflation is going to come? It's just going to wipe it all away. It'll be like pennies to me. They're going to peg it to the actual inflation rate. Okay? That's what's going to happen. It wouldn't be the first time. Get fixed term debt. Lock in your mortgage, car payments, etc. for as long as possible. Knowing that you could make those payments gives you the peace of mind. Where there is high inflation, interest rates will follow. That's the key point there. Pay off high interest rate debt first. I've seen people that say the best thing to do is to pay off the biggest one first because that's the biggest burden. No, it's all about the interest rate. Always pay based on interest rates because that's an expense. You got to pay the principal back. All of that principal, all your different debt needs to be paid back. But the interest is an expense. Improve your credit. Do everything you can to improve your credit. Pay your bills on time. When offered, accept the line of credit, but don't use it. You never know when you'll need to access it. Now, this is contradictory to what others suggest. You want a lot of this because you can borrow against the debt in certain cases like people do with their different assets, whether that is real estate or the stocks. And you see people having access to literally billions of dollars in their because of their assets that they have. This is really key. You don't use the debt. You don't go and spend that debt. But having access to it could be important at some point in the future. And you don't want to be left out when a time when you may need that, okay? Taxes. Using a Roth IRA allows you to pull money out of your retirement account tax-free. If you need that cash, you don't have to worry. In Canada, you can use a TFSA to shelter appreciation on your assets instead of putting your money into your RRSP. Remember, that could be like adding 30% more into your pocket when factoring in taxes. This is so key to understand for a lot of people. These are things, the Roth IRA, the TFSA in Canada, these things could be used and are often not, simply because your financial advisor is going to say, no, you know what, use your 401k, use your RRSP. But these other things are much better in my opinion. Small businesses can potentially write off equipment, furniture, cell phone, internet, cars, etc., which would otherwise be considered liabilities and actually reduce your taxable income along the way. This is something that people need to get a hold of. Oh, well, I don't have a small business. Anybody can start a small business. You don't have to be very profitable. You don't have to have a grand idea. It just has to be legitimate. That's all. Look into this. And look for tax rebates on any new programs in your city. Solar panels, new windows, insulation, etc. All of these different tax incentives that are offered by the government, you should know about every single one. You don't necessarily need to take advantage of all of them, but certainly be aware of them. Food. Grow your own food. Growing your own reduces the cost of this absolute necessity. The more you grow, the less of an impact rising prices will have. Don't overthink it. I think that's the biggest mistake that people make. Don't overthink it, please. Come on. Get some seeds from your produce. Put them into the soil. Take clippings from other plants and plant them. You can grow in pots. Use a tin can if you have to. Don't make an excuse. Don't say, well, that's not the best or you shouldn't do that. Stop it. Stop it and just grow your own food. A little bit is better than none. Look online for simple ways to improve your soil naturally with things that you're potentially about to throw away. Make your own compost. It's an asset. No space? Grow in an aero garden. Grow sprouts in jars or trays. Find a local community garden. All of these things, remember, the number one thing is don't make an excuse and act today. Precious metals. Precious metals have always been the best way to hedge against inflation. Financial advisors will never, ever recommend it and have been programmed to laugh when it's mentioned. There is truth to the fact that precious metals do not provide income. The only way to realize gains from these assets is to sell them, but they should be part of a portfolio of assets that provide passive income so that you don't need to sell them. Do you understand what I'm saying here? You have this as part of a portfolio and the precious metals sit there and they could be passed on generation to generation. Cultures of the East do this. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I think we need to get wise to that fact. Buying precious metals is essentially a bet that the currencies of the world will decline in real value. You need to understand what you're buying here. You're not buying something to hold it for 3 weeks and sell it off. No, you are anticipating the consistent and never-ending failure of the fiat currency system. The current price of these precious metals has been confirmed from numerous sides to be manipulated down. But again, if the hold time is indefinite, then price is simply not a factor. Real estate. Any real estate that is on a lake, river, stream, etc., could be potentially considered land that needs to be cared for or protected by the owner. As such, it may be possible to get a property tax refund. If the property is agricultural land or farmland, and by the way, this could be as little as one animal on the property, and for farmland, it could be something, I believe the number was $7,000 US per year in income from that property. $7,000 for the whole year. That could be considered agricultural land. You can get most of your property tax back. So you got to inquire in your own area, your own region. Look for these. They're not very well known, but I think people should be taking advantage of it, of course, when they can. Investment property has many tax advantages that most people don't understand. You should pay little to no taxes on real estate because of the expenses and depreciation on the property. Meanwhile, you could potentially be taking in passive income from the rent and also do cash out refinance on the property if you need capital. These things here might not be interesting to a lot of people out there, but you should know about them. You should look into them, watch some videos, read some books, have the knowledge there. Okay, we need to take every step of the way. Currency. Convert savings from fiat currency into assets. You should always have a certain amount of cash for paying bills and an emergency buffer. But having cash just rotting away in value is unwise. People keep it under the mattress and so on, and over a long period of time is just not wise. Professional investors would tend to keep their cash in short-term securities, earning a small amount of interest. If you know you're going to make a purchase that needs that currency at some point in the near future, that's okay. But the banks are not a trustworthy place to keep your hard-earned savings. And this one is so important, so key, okay? Skills. Improve your skills. You need a consistent source of income to buy necessities. Okay, that's key. We know that. But also look at this. Take new courses. Ask people you know to teach you. If you've got a neighbor, if you've got a friend, ask them. I'm sure in most cases they're willing to share some information. Okay, join online groups. Acquire skills that are trending. Even if your skill level is mediocre, you're doing a good thing. Absolutely. You don't need to be the best of the best. You don't need to be a master. You're trying to acquire new skills. It takes time, it takes practice, but certainly having some skills better than none. Important skills. This could be programming, website and app development, social media advertising and management, 3D printing technology, warehouse logistics, online sales, and of course, skilled trades. There's so many more, but these are all so important. Hard decisions. If your current job or business is likely to be offshored or automated, you must act quickly. Do everything you can to acquire or improve your skills now. I understand this is a lot. I understand there's so much here, but take this all in for what it is. There's so much that we don't know today, and we need to be learning as much as we can. I believe this is the final slide that I have, and that is tips. Buy in bulk. If there is something that you can buy today that you know for sure you'll use down the road, buying at today's price locks that in. Upfront cost, yes, but down the road, savings. Use an app like Flip, F-L-I-P-P, to find the products you're looking for at the cheapest price today. It searches that in your area, looks through all the flyers. You can download that. Use the Coupon Hunter app or Chrome extension. You got to be using Chrome for this. It's called Honey. That automatically adds verified coupon codes into your checkout online. It's an easy way to save money. Distill your own water at home instead of buying in bottles from the store to save and reduce waste. Of course, there's Berkey water filters. There's all kinds of ways to have upfront cost, but long term, you'd be much better off. Save your seeds from the food you eat, even if you won't plant them. These are assets. You understand what I'm saying here? Just take the seeds that come in the food that people throw in the garbage can, take them, dry them, preserve them, and save them. These are assets, okay? All of this, there's so much more. This is the kind of information that I include in my playlist, How To and Solutions. I think it's really key for people to understand what's really going on here. I'll put the whole playlist at the end of this video. All I want you to do here is to share this video, to give me the thumbs up, to be able to understand that the Money GPS is so much more than just the daily news. I'm trying to occasionally bring information from all around the world. I'm trying to bring you information that you need to know, what I believe is most serious, most pertinent, and what you can actually do. Check out the playlist right here, and that's all. See you on the next one.